Welcome to Toffee Blue View, your source for all things Everton. I'm Gerry. Max and Terry are here in some pyramid arrangement. That is, if you're watching, if you're listening, you don't even know what I'm talking about with the pyramid arrangement. Hey, enjoy that. So, guys, just to go ahead and let people in, the Carolinas got hit by the hurricane. Wasn't as hard as what they were expecting, but the coast and some of the eastern parts of both North and South Carolina, there's some flooding, pretty intense flooding. I was fortunate being inland about 3 or 4 hours. We've only had rivers, creeks, flooding, and everything like that. But thoughts going out to the people on the other side of the state. Just want to go ahead and lead with that before I forget it.
Definitely.
Yeah. So So it's anyway. So there's that happened. This weekend happened in football, and we're gonna get to that, guys. West Ham reaction. If you've been living under a rock, Everton lost yesterday 3-1 to a winless West Ham squad. And that should sum up everything you need to know. But we're going to talk more about it anyway. So let's start with Terry. Terry, what was your... Let's just go ahead and get this more of the negative out of the way. Terry, what was your biggest disappointment from yesterday's match?
Just a bad day at the office, really. I mean, some of the individual performances were pretty eye-opening. I mean, Mason Holgate, I don't think he'll want to see replays of the game back anytime soon. He was bullied all over the pitch all game by Marko Arnautovic, and I mean, people will wince when I say this, but there might be a case to be made for him continuing on a fullback still for a little bit longer. Not because people don't like him a fullback, because he's not that good going forward compared to Kenny or Coleman especially. But when you're at fullback, you do learn to defend one-on-one a lot better in a lot less pressure environment. So look at Joe Gomez at Liverpool. He was out there for a couple of years, and now he's come inside, and he's a much better defender. Years ago, we did it with Joleon Lescott when he came up from the Championship. He stayed at fullback, and that was probably the most disappointing thing yesterday. Just, he's a good player, Holgate, but he was made to look very bad by the West Ham front three. Marko Arnautovic had him on strings all game.
So, Holgate, your biggest disappointment. I will say that's the first name that I wrote down. I'll get into more detail about that in a second. Max, disappointment for you?
Well, I've just read the match report for the game, and I was thinking, obviously, with the recording coming up, whether to give me account of the game with me Everton hat on or me kind of articulate footy nerd hat on. But from the Everton point of view, what I will say is we saw it coming all week. You know, we had the break, we had the international break. If you look at David's match preview for the game, the title was "You've got no point. Welcome to Goodison Park." And the bad thing about it is West Ham haven't beat us at home for something like 12, 13 years. I mean, sorry, once in 12, 13 years. That's I'm sure I heard that stat. And despite that, we all still saw it coming. I don't know whether the amount of absentees we've got with suspensions and injuries played its part in the players on the pitch looking disorganised, because they certainly did all over the pitch, really. I couldn't really make an excuse for any of them, from the front to the midfield to the back line, even Pickford. No one really looked at the races, and as Terry said, it was a really bad day at the office, and hopefully people aren't losing their minds and they do remember it is just a bad day at the office. But yeah, you don't want to see another performance like that anytime soon.
Okay, I'm just going to have to go ahead and step forward and say I did not see this coming. Maybe it's because I am still fledgling in my Everton support. Technically I'm only like 5 or 6 in Everton years. You know what I mean? I don't have a decade. I don't have 2 decades or even 3. I actually thought we were going to continue with some of the same play and not give up as many, maybe give up one silly goal, but still score. Yeah, I guess I should have learned when a team comes in a slump, we're the best team to play them.
Well, it's not just that. It's individual players as well. If one player seems to have one over on us, he'll score every game he plays against us.
Yeah.
That's proven true at Yarmolenko now. Like, if you're after your first goal, or you've got this little thing where you always score against Everton, we just can't figure these players out. And what I thought was annoying with Yarmolenko is it's the same trick that he pulled at Kiev, putting it onto his left foot.
Mm-hmm.
And I was having this discussion with a mate before the game, similar to Iron Robin. Like, you know what he's going to do? He's going to cut it in. He's going to change his foot. But stopping it's a completely different kind of issue. And but I know. Obviously, we said a lot about Kenny before the game, but it was quite disappointing for us to not read Yarmolenko as we should have.
Yeah, that move that Yarmolenko put on for the second one, where he's cutting across, rears back to shoot, fakes, takes one little touch, and then takes a quick shot and curves that into the side netting. I've been practicing with that with my kid already in our den because he can't play outside because of all the rain. But yeah, I mean, it was nice, but I've seen him do it. I've seen him do it a lot. I mean, I'll go ahead and tell you, my biggest disappointment, I thought Holgate could have done better. I from the first viewing, I thought he had a big part in the first and third goals. Okay? I think when you're playing center back and a man streaks past you, you're supposed to stay with them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Instead of giving them, and that's the thing. And the first time when Arnautovic, made that touch and then broke behind him, he was nowhere close to staying with him. All right, so Arnautovic had the ball and he's like wide open. And then the second time he didn't stay, he jogged, but he let that ball get through. And I feel like that's your damn job. It's very, I don't know. It reminds me of when I was not in the mood to play when I was younger, and I would run at the ball, and I would get close to it, but I didn't really have a lot of desire to actually get it. You know what I mean? It was just, you get there and you're just like, it seemed like he just was in a mood, not in the mood to play. And at that moment, I'm like, he needs to sit down for a while. Okay? That's the sign to me of a guy who just needs to take a break. He needs to get the hunger back. All right? Because it was sloppy. Really sloppy, mindless defending. Okay? It's not on point at all. Being aware of your responsibilities. I mean, it's not just him. Some other, I mean, I don't know how Digne allows Yarmolenko to get that shot off. He's right in front of him. But to be fair, Digne, a great player, had a great game for the most part. Pickford's mistake on the second one, that's a disappointment. You know what I mean?
That's another thing when you say about if you need a goal or you need a win, you want to play Everton. The second that Pickford opened his mouth about Liverpool's keeper Alisson, you just know he's going to have a mistake coming very, very soon. He's going to oblige everyone who read that comment and got upset about it with a mistake very soon, so they can all post the gifs of the mistake on Twitter and lap it up. So we are that club. We love obliging things like that.
Yeah. And I read that full quote, by the way, from Pickford. It's not as insulting as a lot of people were manipulating it to seem, but still, you know what I mean? Just shut it. Just find a way to politically divulge an answer. You know what I mean?
Our script writes itself at times, doesn't it? I think we've just, I know, Gerry, as you say, you've only been a Blue for 5-6 years, but you just come to learn it writes itself. It really does.
Oh my God. Yeah. And another, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. Tosun is a clinical goal scorer, and when he has chances, it's obvious as the ones he had, he's got to finish those. All right? I understand that if I'm in the field, I don't complete that header. I don't put that in the corner. But he's much better in the air than most players. He normally can divert that one way or the other. One of the things that impressed me about Tosun last season, and actually in the preseason, when he has an opportunity, he cashes in. He just needs a little bit of space, and he will put it in a corner. I value him as a clinical. I just feel like this is a patch for him. He's missing stuff that he normally would take. He would normally take advantage of some of these. I was disappointed with that.
Yeah.
To be fair, we had a lot of opportunities to score. We did.
We had, what was it, like 10 shots on goal. But I do not rate that. I mean, it's not that I don't rate them individually as players. I just don't rate that front three. I don't like Dominic Calvert-Lewin playing on the wing because we were pumping a lot of long balls up for Calvert-Lewin to win, and I just didn't think that was the right approach at all, and we paid for that. And as far as Tosun is concerned, I think if it worked well when it was Richarlison out on the left, because obviously the physicality and the graft that he puts in kind of compensates for what Tosun lacks. Mm-hmm. But we're putting Calvert-Lewin out on the wing. I don't think he's going to make up for what Tosun can't do in that sense. As I say, I don't like Calvert-Lewin on the wing, and for the system that I think we're playing with the three up front, he needs to be, as you say, Gerry, he's a great clinical goal scorer, but it's almost like it's a false nine role that we need to be taking up. This player that can drop deep and hold up the ball and distribute it and, link together all these attacking moves. And he does look like he's going through a bit of a goal drought at the minute because he's snatching at chances, and we just want his confidence to return.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's take that, push to the side briefly. Some people are claiming if you take any positives from that match, then there's something wrong with you. I disagree. I thought there was a couple of flickers from that game that we should maybe hold on to and take with us. Okay? Positives. Terry.
I mean, I saw that as well. If people on Twitter saying if you take positives from that, then you're part of the problem, which makes me laugh. These are the same people who boo Young after every performance and whisper it quietly, but slate Tom Davis. Like these are the hyper negative.
Sorry, man. That just with the history, that's very funny to me.
It's just, to be honest, there weren't a lot of positives. There was one. Bernard looks feisty when he came on. Might be a bit early to just throw him straight in, just because you want to protect him a little bit. You don't want him to re-injure himself. He's coming to a much more physical league, and he's not the most physically imposing of players, but he looked pretty good when he came on. So high hopes for him. Hopefully we'll see him more and more as the weeks go on. But other than that, it's probably about it. It was a bad performances all round, and the only one I can really say came away from the match with anything good about him was probably Bernard.
Max, what do you think?
Bernard and Digne, as Teddy said, I do think Bernard he looks a player. He really does. Like, I know a lot's been made of his physical attributes with him being so small and slight, but that really looked to play into his hands for that game. Because if you look at some of the 1v1 situations that he found himself in, and some of the touches that he showcased, he just looks really exciting, and you can't wait to see more of that in the future when he kind of builds up his fitness fully enough to be a starter. And as I say, Luca Digne is the other one that I really can think, again, I'm so glad we sorted the left back conundrum out, because he looks like he's going to be a starting player for us, no doubt. But yeah, other than that, it wasn't something that you can take many positives from, and we need to bounce back.
Yeah, Digne looks good.
Oh my gosh.
Throw that in as well. He looks really good. He didn't have his best game because obviously he went missing for one of the goals, but going forward, he's absolutely great. So yeah. I'm really pleased with him myself.
Every single time he puts a ball across, I'm thinking this could be a goal.
Yeah.
Every single time. Can we quickly discuss, before we wrap up, Kenny's performance? This has been really polarizing, I'm noticing, on social media. So I want to know what you guys thought of how he performed, having not played very much. I know he played recently in the Carabao Cup match, but how do we feel about how he played yesterday? Max, you want to start this one?
Well, as I say, obviously he put that ball. I think obviously the fair thing that you've got to say is he put that terrific ball in for Sigurdsson's header, which was an absolute peach of a cross. But before you start singling out Kenny, I think you've got to look at the back line as a whole. I think that's the first time. Obviously, I mean they'll have trained together, but I think that's the first time in a professional game that back four's been used. With Kenny, Holgate, Zuma, and the left back Inya. So obviously, I think everyone just looked not on the same wavelength. And I was listening to Kenny's interview after the game. He's an Evertonian. He's one of us. He was saying, we need to stick together. We know we're going to go through tough times this season. Just one bad result doesn't mean that the world's crashing down. We knew we were going to have to go through this after the shit show of last season. So, as he said after the game, we need to just all stick with it.
Terry.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Max. Not his best game, but again, he wasn't the only one. There was a lot of players who struggled. I mean, these are him and Holgate are they're kids and they're playing against £50 million players and Anderson and really, really experienced good players in that front three. So they got outboxed a little bit, and they'll learn from it. The whole team learned defeats like this, and Holgate and Kenny especially, because they're young, will come away from that game and will have learned a great deal about what went wrong, because you can bet your life that when they go back into training, that's the first thing they'll get. They'll just analyse the goals and say, here's what you did wrong, here's what you should have done. I like Kenny. I think he's a good player. I think he's a good understudy for Seamus Coleman, and he, as I say, saw the best and the worst of him. He was a little bit naive in defence, but was really good going forward, put in a great assist. So just chalk it up to bad game. We'll have a few more of them before the season's out, but it's the start of a big project, so I think people need to just relax a little bit.
I've just got to say this. I think the whole back line, like you guys say, communication issues. It is very clear they haven't played together very much. Kenny not sliding over, Digne not sliding over to cover. There's some covering problems several times. I can't think of very many instances where someone beat Kenny one-on-one. I can't. There was one time where I thought Anderson had him going straight at the goal, and he ended up sliding in and putting it out of bounds. He was giving him a wide berth, but he didn't allow the cross or the shot. All right, I actually thought defensively he was better than people are giving him credit for, and I'm wondering, what am I missing here? Because I thought one-on-one he looked strong.
Yeah, I don't think it's so much that. I think it's the effect of everyone else. Everyone was positionally very poor, I thought. For example, if you look at that first goal. Yeah, you look at that first goal, that pass by Obiang, where he's just kind of lofted it over the entire back line for Yarmolenko and Arnautovic to run clear. Just little things like that. I think Gerry they stand out as a defensive back line that we're not on the same wavelength, but we knew that anyway. We need to get the likes of Mina in, and hopefully that'll give us a big kick up the arse.
There's no leaders in that back four either. They're all individually good players at what they do, but you can see them when the ball goes over the top, as Max said. Then nobody knows who's meant to be covering that. There was no command and presence. They all seem to be players who. I felt like there was a leader missing. They would have had a better game. Any three, if Coleman was there, they would have played better. If maybe even Jagielka was there, they would have played better, despite what he might be as individually as a player. They needed someone to just take control, because they were all sort of looking at each other to, who was meant to be doing that, who's meant to be there, who's tracking him. They were all a little bit, I don't know, just looking for someone to take control, and no one was doing it.
So yeah, I don't know. I've just seen so many people slating Kenny, saying he was dire, and I just think he did some things well. I'm not going to I refuse to completely slate him. I think I agree with you guys. Positionally, there are some problems with that back line. I think it boils down to practicing together, training together, getting used and knowing your responsibilities when the other person is there. Communication is going to be crap. That's one of the reasons why you usually try to keep center backs the same. You try to keep the same ones so they know what the other one's doing. Yeah. I'm just pissed. I'm sick of thinking about this. Let's move on. All right. That's it for our West Ham reaction. Yeah, it's bad. If you like our channel, please subscribe. Slowly working our way up in the subs, and we appreciate that. David's got an interview out there with Drente. All right. You should check it out because he went to Rotterdam and recorded that. So yeah, it's good stuff. All right. I was really psyched for him, and yeah. So please check that out. Also, you should check out Terry on the Liverpool Echo fan jury. And you can also check out Max on the Toffee Blues website. Just check their Twitter. You'll see where they are. They will tell you, I assure you. All right, that's it. Let's move on. We're going to talk about the striker situation now. So, bye.